to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a get ready with me using new to me luxury makeup, and a lot of these are outstanding new releases, so I just wanted to show you them in action. A lot of these products are really, really great, and I just wanted you to know about them because I feel like a lot of them are just underrated products that haven't been getting a lot of attention. So I really wanted to show these in action so you can see how amazing they are. I have a lot of new products to show you, so if you want to see all this outstanding new luxury beauty, just keep watching. So I just have my skincare on. Some of you have asked about skincare and makeup. Maybe there has been a little bit of an interaction and your skincare just isn't playing as well with your makeup products. Usually I will apply my skincare and then allow, I want to say at least 10 minutes for it to sink in. So I'll go first thing in the morning, like brush my teeth, do my skincare, and maybe like make some breakfast or something, and then go and do my makeup just so I have a little bit of time for that to sink in. That way it won't interact with my makeup products. So I do have an SPF on, and I'm just going to get started with the skin. I am going to start off with the By Terry the Brightening CC Foundation. This is a Sheer Glow Tinted Serum, and I picked the shade 3N. If I'm being honest, this is a little bit too neutral and a little bit too light for me, so I probably should have gone with 4N or 4W. That would have been a little bit of a better match. However, what I love to do is I like to mix it with the Chantecaille. This is the Sheer Glow Bronze Face Tint, and thank you to those of you who have used my code with Chantecaille. There is still time to get the 30% discount. You can use the code GLOWWithLisa, and you will get this Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint and the Sheer Glow Bronze Face Tint, and you will get this little makeup bag that comes along with it, and you get 30% off both these products. So it's a really great deal. My mom has picked one up, and it's a great deal because I love these products. I'm just gonna start off with the Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint, and I'm going to use that as like a primer, and I'm going to apply this product underneath my eyes. This will allow a little bit, so this has a little bit of pink tint to it, and this is going to brighten my under eyes, and it's just going to allow me to use less concealer because it slightly color corrects. And then I'm also going to apply this on the high points of my face where I want a little bit more brightness. So I'm just gonna rub that in. And then, like I was saying, I kind of got distracted with this By Terry Brightening CC Foundation. Because it's a little bit too light for me, I will mix in a little bit of this Sheer Glow Bronze Face Tint. So for that purpose, I'll just go in with like a pea-size amount just onto the palm of my hand. And then I will also give this foundation a good shake. And I will just pump out. I find like one pump works pretty well for this foundation. It actually gives you quite a decent amount of product. And then I'll just mix those together on the palm of my hand, and then I'll go in with a brush. But this foundation is really beautiful, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. I feel like it's really underwhelming for some reason, and maybe By Terry just isn't a brand that I feel like a lot of people are reviewing, but I really enjoy this foundation. If you're someone that likes that blurring look on your skin, like you like your skin to look blurred, this would be a great foundation. I really like the effect that it gives my skin. And it's one of those blurring foundations that I really enjoy. And I would say this has more of a satin finish. Like, it's definitely very skin-like. A lot of the foundations that I use are more on, I want to say like the glowier side, just because I have super, super dry skin. So if you're someone that has like oily or normal combo skin, even dry skin, because I have dry skin and I can wear this and it doesn't look dry on my skin at all, this would be an awesome option because it's just a little bit more on the matte side than some of my other favorite foundations that I use on a daily basis. It's gorgeous. And this Chantecaille product that I mixed in with it, it doesn't really alter the foundation at all. It thins it out ever so slightly, so maybe it gives me like just a little bit less coverage, but hardly. It's just beautiful, and it makes it so the foundation matches my body just better. So mixing this bronze face tint with your foundation is just such a great technique to use when your foundation doesn't match your skin, which, you know, it does happen often for me just because I'm not always the best at getting the perfect foundation match. I would rather go a little bit too light than too deep because you can really counteract the lightness. And a lot of the time, I don't go in store to buy foundation. I'm always buying foundation online just because I live in a really small city and we don't really have stores where they sell foundations in person. So a lot of the times I am just making guess and buying online that way. But truly, if you're looking for a really gorgeous foundation, this would be perfect in the summertime because it gives you that light coverage. I would say possibly you could build it almost to a medium coverage. You can still see your skin texture through it. It gives you more of that satin finish. It's not a flat finish by any means. On me, it looks a little bit more matte because I just have dry skin, but it's really, really pretty. I just really love this foundation. The one thing that I don't love about it is that there is a fragrance and it is quite strong. So if you don't like fragrance in your product, then I wouldn't recommend that, but otherwise it is. And I will leave my Chantecaille code down below. It is good until July 23rd. If you were interested in that promo, it is a really good deal and it is a product that I highly recommend. So I'll leave that down below. It's Glow with Lisa for 30% off those products. So I feel like that foundation looks really beautiful on the skin. It looks skin-like. You can still see skin texture showing through. So I'm someone that prefers to have freckles showing through foundation. You can still see a little bit of my freckles, a little bit of discoloration, but that is something I just personally like, especially on an everyday basis. I want you to be able to basically not be able to detect that I'm wearing foundation, and at least like I don't want it to look like I'm wearing heavy makeup on my skin, especially in person. That's just not my thing. So if you're someone that likes that, this is a gorgeous foundation, definitely underrated, definitely something I suggest. For concealer, I'm going to take the Chanel. This is the Sublimage Le Correcteur Yeux. This is not new, but I did pick up the shade 40 recently because I had been using the shade 20, which was much too light for me. And I feel like shade 40, it honestly is like identical to my skin tone. It's not too light or too deep. And I really like that. I'm just not into brightening concealer these days. I want my concealer to match my skin tone. I just don't like that really contrasted look where your under eyes are super bright and then your like bronzer, like everything just looks so contrasted between this really bright white under your eye area and then everything else is like deeper. I just think it looks kind of awkward and weird, especially in person. I feel like on camera it looks really pretty, but in person when someone has that too light under eye, it just looks a little weird. That's just my opinion. If you like that look, then obviously that's just a personal preference. So I'm just taking a little bit of this concealer with this Clé de Peau. This is just a concealer brush. And you only need a little bit of product. This goes a really long way. And I'm just applying it underneath the eyes there. And then I will also take the excess and I will create this little line, almost like a winged shape, like if you were creating a winged liner. That sort of shape. And I'm just cleaning up the outer corner of my eye because I like to have a little bit of a lifted look. I like for everything on my face to look more lifted. So that's why I apply that shape in the outer corner. And I'm just gonna, again, blend that in with a sponge. I typically like to go, like you saw me apply my foundation with a brush, I like to go over everything with either a sponge or I'll take another clean foundation brush, like say this PK Beauty one, and I'll go over the edges just to ensure that there's not product sitting on top of my face and there's not going to be like, yeah, just any sort of extra product there. This will take off any excess product and just tapping that in. If you haven't tried this Chanel concealer, this is one of my favorites. And now that I have the correct shade, I like it even more. So this is something I definitely recommend. I've also picked up a lot of cream bronzers lately that I think are just outstanding releases. Like I really, really am enjoying them. This Glossier bronzer, like, I'm sorry, this is such a good price point and it is such a beautiful product. I really, really like this. Of course, my favorite is going to be the Chantecaille Bronze Face Tint, but it's nice to have options. This Glossier one, I would say, is probably the most similar to that Chantecaille one. This is actually a really just great formula. I've also been loving this Saie. This is the Dew Bronze Bronzer in the shade Sand. This one does have a little bit of like a luminosity to it, and I would say, like this Glossier one, I would say the texture is very similar to the Chantecaille one, but the Chantecaille one is blurring on the skin. And this Glossier one, I don't think it's blurring. However, this Saie one is blurring on the skin. And I've also been really liking this Makeup by Mario one. You guys have heard me talk about these. I feel like I have to do almost like a roundup, but I'm just going to use a little bit of this Saie one because I have not used it on my channel before. But I am gonna go in with a powder bronzer that I've been really loving. So with these, I do not like to apply them directly to the skin. That is just a really great way for you to mess up your makeup basically. If you want great application, I think applying it to the palm of your hand first. This is how I apply all cream products because you just will get the best finish this way. And I'm going to pick it up on this BK Beauty. This is a 101 brush. I really like this brush for applying cream products. And I'll just go over top of that foundation. And this foundation is still slightly too light for me, so this is going to be a really great way to just add some bronze to my skin. This is a really natural bronzer too, especially if you use just a little bit of product. Now, I believe this is the lightest shade in the bronzer, or the second lightest. It is classified as the light shade, and I'm really glad I got it because I think this product runs dark, because this is honestly like a good bronzer color for me, and I wanted something really light and natural, almost as if I could use like the Makeup by Mario, the skin enhancer. But this does run a little bit dark, so it is more just like a typical cream bronzer, but gorgeous because this does have that blurring technology on the skin. You guys know how much I like a blurred finish. It's something that looks like your skin is filtered, but like it's not a ton of product. Like sometimes I think people associate like a filtered look with heavy coverage. Not heavy. This is very skin-like and beautiful. So I really do like that product. And I forget if I said the shade. The shade name is Sand. Next, I'm going to go in with a cream blush release that I am just really happy about. So Persona Cosmetics, they released 2 new shades of their cream blushes. I purchased these myself. I know that Persona sends out a lot of PR, but I've never been sent PR from Persona, so these were purchased myself. And just so you know, you have to pay lots of shipping to Canada. Like I think it's $25 shipping to Canada. And I still think these cream blushes are worth the shipping price on top of that, because this formula is just so, so beautiful. This is one of my favorite, if not the best, cream blush formulas I've ever tried. So they released the shade Carmel and also Georgia. It's like a brighter peach shade. And then the shade Carmel, which is a mauvey tone. So I'm gonna take a little bit of Georgia. And then I'm gonna go in with the Sonia G. This is a classic base brush. And I'm going to pick up that product on the palm of my hand. And then I'm going to distribute it to my face. That way you're gonna get an even amount of color, just distribute it on the brush, and it's going to apply just so much more evenly. It's just going to blend so much more evenly because you've already pre-blended the product onto your hand. And this color, again, typically not my shades, but this just adds this beautiful plumpness and youthfulness to your cheeks. And actually, I've been wearing this just on its own without anything underneath. And I've actually gotten compliments in person, which is very rare. Nobody really compliments my makeup usually in person. But I did have someone say that they love the cheek color, and it's just so beautiful. It gives you really fresh looking, healthy cheeks. So I just really, really love this blush color, and this formula is beautiful as well. I'm always, again, going back to blurring, if you're looking for a cream blush that actually adds that blurred effect, this is probably the only cream blush I would say that gives you that effect. If you're someone that is oily skin and you have a hard time wearing cream blushes, because again, I feel like oily skin people probably stay away from creams, this is a product that I'd recommend because it does set down and it looks so skin-like on your skin. It doesn't look like you're wearing heavy makeup or anything. It gives you just this beautiful look. This is one of the best cream blush formulas. I actually think it's my favorite cream blush formula on the market. It is really, really great, and these colors, so beautiful. If I had to choose a favorite though, I would say Carmel, the more mauvey one, is my favorite. Georgia is just not something I'm going to wear because it's more of that peachy color. I just feel like it maybe clashes a little bit more with what I tend to wear on my lips, but Carmel, beautiful. I'll obviously link that down below. I am going to set my under eyes a little bit because it is really hot outside, and I'm going to take this Huda Beauty. This is the loose baking and setting powder in the shade Peach Pie. So I have tried her formula before, but it had some different colors. I actually had the pink one, but I thought that was too pink on my under eyes, and I thought it looked a little weird because I'm quite warm toned. So having a pink, cool undertone on my under eyes while the rest of my skin is warm just contrasted too much and looked weird. But this shade Peach Pie, and I got the fragrance-free one because so thankful that she released a fragrance-free one. I like the fragrance-free one better, and this shade works so much better. So I'm just going to tap out my under eyes to ensure there's no creases, and then go in with a little bit of product. I'm gonna wipe off all that excess, and then press it into the under eyes. And I only apply it just to the under eyes, right there where I'm dark. I don't bring it all the way up to my lash line because then you can find the powder kind of sits in that area. But this is just a great powder. Again, it blurs, it just sets that area and it doesn't look heavy on my under eyes. If you have really mature skin, I'm not sure how this would work for you. But as someone who is 33 and has dry skin, it works well for me. So I would just try it out, but it is a really phenomenal setting powder. Now, Chantecaille did send me their summer 2024 collection, and I actually had purchased some of these products, but I gave them to my mom because Chantecaille let me know that they were going to send them over. So I am really excited about this because I typically don't receive collections from Chantecaille. I did purchase, like I said, the bronzer myself, and I gave it to my mom. And I'm really happy to report because I wanted my mom to try out the Real Bronze from Chantecaille because it's one of my favorite bronzers of all time. And I wanted to know, does she like it for her skin? I will link the video we did down below. I really need to have her back on the channel, but this is a beautiful bronzer. So I have my favorite, this is like one of my favorite bronzers of all time. This is the shade Sirena, and it's a Bake Gelée bronzer. So with these sort of products, you do need to be a little bit, it's just a little, I don't want to say finicky because they're not really finicky to apply, but you don't want to use like a bronzer brush that's really fluffy like this BK Beauty one. You would want to use a bronzer brush that is more dense, so the bristles are really tightly packed together. So this is a Sonia G, this is a Niji Pro. You'd want to use something more dense because this is Bake Gelée, so it's hard pressed. When you apply your brush into these products, you're not going to see powder flying because they are pressed really, they're just baked into these, into the compact, so that you do require just a heavier hand when you're applying these sort of bronzers. But how they look on the skin is like nothing else. They are the most beautiful, beautiful powder products because they apply like a powder, but they melt into your skin like a cream. These are the type of products that I would suggest if you like that no makeup look because they are just so creamy on the skin. You cannot detect that you've applied a powder product. They really do just meld into your skin. After like 10 minutes, it just settles in and looks so skin-like. So gorgeous. These are the most skin-like bronzers on the market. So really happy about this. The packaging is just kind of like this basic, almost looks like a pebble. Kind of cute. And this powder formula, so it's the exact same as the Real Bronze. I kind of want to see if the colors are different. So Sirena has been discontinued and I am so very upset about it. So if you have not tried these out, they honestly, they look so identical. Sirena is a little bit deeper and a little bit warmer. This Sunstone bronzer is a little bit lighter. So if you have a lighter skin tone, this might be a great option, but I'm very upset that they discontinued this. However, at least we have this option. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up on a Niji Pro. Again, you can be a little bit more heavy-handed with a bronzer like this. I'm going to get off that excess product and then apply it onto the skin. Oh, every time I apply this, I always remember just how gorgeous it is on the skin. It literally, you can't detect it on the skin. It looks so skin-like. So you can see I'm going in with more product than I typically would just because you can get away with that. Wow. Yeah, I love this. This is outstanding. This is beautiful. Like I said, my mom, she is 65. She is loving this bronzer. She's not someone who typically wears a bronzer. Like she always tells me if she was going to skip one thing, it would be bronzer. She's just not a bronzing person. However, this product has made her like bronzer so much more. She's been wearing it on a daily basis. She really loves how it looks on her skin. It doesn't look powdery at all. So very flattering if you have more mature skin. Highly recommend it. This is just one of my favorite releases. I'm so happy that they came out with this again. And for highlighter, I'm just going to dip into this Chanel highlighting. It's not a highlighting duo. This is the Le Beige Healthy Glow Sun Kissed Powder. And I have mine in the shade Light Coral. I do know in the US, Light Coral is sold out, but in Canada, you can still get Light Coral, so I will link it down below. And I'm just going to apply this onto the high points of the cheeks. Just really lightly. I don't need a lot of product. I really like this highlighter. I'm typically not a highlighter girly, but I really like this because it's one of those highlighters that aren't like super stark or super noticeable on the skin. It's just going to give you a slight glow without it being obnoxious highlighter. And I just take it on an eyeshadow brush. I really like that for more precise application. A fluffy eyeshadow brush so that I can really blend it into the skin. but it's not going to be in such a large amount because I don't like highlighter to be kind of in a large amount on my skin. I just like it in a very precise area, but I like it really blended into the skin. And for lips, Chantecaille also sent me the Sunstone Lip Sheer. This is in the shade Optimism. So this is their, just their lip sheer formula. Comes in this really beautiful packaging. It's like magenta. I'm not sure how this will look on me. I'm gonna try it. This is why I decided to do the blush last because, very deceiving because this looks like quite a deep color. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see. It looks like a bit of a deeper color. For me, I like really sheer lipsticks, and I guess this is a sheer formula. I basically like my lips to look like I am wearing nothing on them. Just, that's how I am. I probably should have thought of this before I added that more coral cheek. So I love this formula. This formula is excellent because it is just like a sheer lip gloss. It's like that lipstick lip gloss hybrid. Really beautiful, feels so comfortable. Like, this is the type of formula where your lips will feel better after you've worn it. This shade is quite pretty. It gives me like my lips but better. It's a little deeper than what I normally wear, but you know what, I think that's gonna be fine. It is a little bit more cool toned than what I was planning for the cheeks, but we can kind of fix that. I am just going to go in with the Chantecaille Sunstone Radiant Blush. Now, I do feel like we are going to have to work with this a little bit. So this is the shade Energy. This is really, really gorgeous. Love their formulas. This is just, honestly, it gives you a very, very sheer wash of color. I almost wonder if you'll be able to see that. So Energy is just this beautiful, it's like a pinky coral. It does say it's a peach shimmer, and these are a pearlescent formula that sweeps a sheer wash of joyful color onto the cheeks. I would almost classify this as a blush topper just because this does have a shimmer that's running throughout it. So with these sort of products, I typically would apply them like as a last step. I probably shouldn't have applied that highlighter now that I'm thinking about it, but that's okay. We will just see how this works. So I'm gonna first go in with this. It comes in that cute packaging. It's not like the most luxurious packaging. It feels quite light. So it's a little bit different for Chantecaille. Normally they come out with like quite heavy luxe feeling packaging. I'm going to take a little bit of that, and because this is a shimmery blush, I am going to get off that excess product, and I'm going to focus this higher up on the cheeks. You know what? That is quite pretty. However, I would not apply this blush right here because it does have that shimmer, so it will emphasize texture. But okay, this is really pretty for one of those. I typically do not like these blushes that have a sheen running through it because I do feel like they emphasize texture, but this isn't. However, I do think it will emphasize texture if I've applied it into this area of the skin. That's just the nature of it. But in this area, just on the tops of my cheekbones, really pretty, and it gives this subtle glow, but it's not too over the top. So, okay, I quite like that. I am going to actually just apply it to the front of my face just to see. You know what, that actually isn't emphasizing texture as much as I thought it would. That is really pretty. If you're someone that likes shimmery blushes, I think this would be a really great option. I'm wondering how pink the pink tone is because I feel like this Energy shade does have quite a bit of pink in it. So I'm wondering if the shade, it's Confidence, which is the rose shimmer, that must be very, very pink because this, to me, is leaning more on the pink side. Okay, that's really pretty. However, I do like something a little bit more matte on the cheeks, and I do feel like maybe that pink is just clashing a little bit with the lips and what I will be wearing on my eyes. So I'm going to take this NARS Behave blush. This is a completely matte formula. This is the shade Behave. It's this really beautiful, I think it's classified as like a muted pink, but I would say it's more of like, it's actually that perfect combo of like a brown and a peach and a pink all in one. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to, again, get that excess off, and I'm going to just apply that over top just to kind of neutralize that blush a little bit. I feel like with shimmery blushes, I do need something matte underneath. Otherwise, the shimmer just kind of makes it, you can't really see the color. I don't really know how to explain it, but sometimes if you just apply a shimmer blush without having any sort of matte color underneath, it just doesn't look right. It just looks a little bit weird on the skin. Like you can almost just see your skin through it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just feel like having something grounding, like a matte color, just makes it a lot more flattering. And I feel like this will play better with the eyes when I go in with the eye products. But really pretty. Again, I would probably just use this more as a blush topper than I would as my actual blush shade. But with this sort of product, you actually don't need a highlighter. Quite like how the skin looks, but to finalize everything, I'm going to go in with the Clé de Peau. This is the Refining Press Powder. I don't have a new powder. This is just my favorite powder. It always just makes everything look great. And I'm just going to apply this to the center of my face where I want the skin to look poreless, basically. This adds that blurring effect to your skin. Truly, this is a filter in a compact. It just blurs your skin and your skin always looks so beautiful. For my eyes, I haven't really been picking up eyeshadows. I have just been, honestly, this is how I've been wearing my makeup with no mascara or anything on an actual everyday basis. But I've been loving, if I do wear makeup, I've been loving this Merit, the Solo Shadows. And again, I purchased these myself. Merit didn't send me these. But I have picked up 3 of them personally because I love them so much. I started with Vachetta, and I loved it so much that I picked up Studio. And then I also picked up Midcentury because Midcentury and Studio are quite similar. However, Studio leans a little bit more pink and it's light, where Midcentury has this really beautiful like terracotta kind of tone. But you can really sheer it out and apply it so it looks light. So I'm going to kind of show you how I've been loving to apply these. I'm just going to take this Rephr. This is a 12 brush. And I'm going to use that, and again, I get a very light amount so that I can really sheer it out on the eyes. And I basically apply this all over the eyelid. You can use this just as a one and done eyeshadow. And I very lightly will just build it up. So just getting it down, applying it super lightly all over the eye. And then typically once I have it kind of all over the eye, I'll just apply a little bit more product to that very outside corner, just so I get a little bit more depth there. I just feel like it can be a little bit more flattering to have a little bit of more color there, and then I will build it slightly into the crease. But really, I just want such a light application of this. So I really like this because when you look at this color in the pot, you think it's going to be really dark and deep, but you can just really lightly apply these colors so that they almost look like no makeup products, and I just love that. I'm also going to go in with a Rephr. This is an 03 brush, so it's a really little brush, and I'm going to use that to get onto the lower lash line. Because this brush is more dense and smaller, I'm going to need to be a little bit more careful because it's going to apply a little bit more color there. So I'm going to really ensure to get that excess product off and then buff it. So also from Persona, while I picked up this cream blushes, I also wanted to try out their eye paint. So this is the Persona eye paint in the shade Oro. It's this gorgeous gold shade. And I was just intrigued because I don't really have products like this in my collection. So you can either just swipe it right onto the lid, but it's quite opaque and I just prefer a light wash of color. So I like to apply it to just the palm of my hand first, and then I'll take a brush. You can take any brush. I'll pick up the product that way and then apply it on the eyes. And I just love this subtle luminosity this gives the eyes. It is the most gorgeous sheen, and I really like this product because it does set down and it's not going to move. And you can build it up. So with that, I don't even know if you can tell, but it's such a sheer wash of color. But if you can tell, when I apply this on the from the applicator onto the eyes, it's going to give a way more opaque effect. So if you're someone that likes a lot of color payoff and you like that opacity on your eyes, you can see how intense that is. I'm just someone that likes a sheer wash of color. So that's how I like to apply this product. And I'm using a blending brush. So again, I get that more sheer application. I just think this is gorgeous in the summertime. This color screams summer to me. And just, wow, how that looks. It is so beautiful. And it's a really sophisticated shimmer. It's not a chunky glitter shimmer where it has chunks of shimmer particles. This just has that really beautiful sheen, and it just makes your eyes look glossy and like they're glowing. Well, maybe not like they're glowing, but it just gives you that glossy lid effect. And I just think it makes my eye color pop. So really, really pretty. I really, really like this. But again, I don't like to swipe it directly on. I just feel like it's too much color payoff for me. So I do like to apply this with a brush, and I think I get a great effect that way. Before we go in with mascara, I forgot I have one more product that is new to me. This is the what is it called? This is made in Italy. It's the Queen Musea. This is the lipstick, the matte cream lipstick in the shade Becky Sharp. I've heard a lot of people talk about these products, and this was sent to me just as a disclaimer. This is a really pretty like rosebud. It's like my lips but better, just slightly deeper. I am just going to go over top of that Chantecaille just because I'm curious about this. So it definitely feels nice that I have that Chantecaille almost as a base because this does lean more on the matte. It almost reminds me of a matte version of the Merit Signature Lightweight Lipstick, like these, but it's not like super matte. It's not a drying matte. It is a nice formula. Has a nice creaminess to it, even though it says it's more on the matte side. Like it's not super duper matte. It's not what I would classify as a normal matte. It almost is like an in-between, like more matte satin. Really pretty. Now I'm someone that just likes a more glossy lipstick. I don't like to leave things matte for some reason. I just feel like it looks weird on me. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of that Chantecaille just to add a little bit of color. So I've applied a little bit more of the Chantecaille. This is the Sunstone Lip Sheer in the shade Optimism over top. And usually I like to like pat my lipstick in like this so it looks a little bit more lived in. But because of the formula of this, it almost has that quality that it's lived in on initial application. So you don't need to pat it into your lips because it never sits on top of your lips. It really does feel like more like a lip mask, and it really sinks in. It just kind of melds into your lips. So for mascara, I'm going to go in with my Dior Lash Maximizer Primer, and then I'm going to take the Swede mascara. This is just the Clad mascara in the shade Dark Brown, and I'll be back. So I just went in with mascara. I went in with the Swede mascara. This was sent to me, and I like it, but I don't think it's like a must-have. I think it gave me nice definition and length, but I still feel like I like my YSL mascara and the Gucci mascara and the Chantecaille mascara better. But it's nice. It does give good length, good separation. If it's something you're looking at, I do enjoy it. Let's just quickly go over all the products that I tried. So the By Terry CC Brightening CC Foundation. I just think this is beautiful. It gives a beautiful light, almost buildable to medium, not quite medium coverage, but you can still see your skin texture through it. You can still see freckles, but it gives this really beautiful blurred effect. More on the satin side. It's not super glowy, but it's also not super matte. It's kind of that perfect natural finish for me, which I really, really enjoy. And I think a lot of people would actually really like this foundation. I feel like not many people are talking about it, but it is really gorgeous. Moving on to the bronzing product, I really do enjoy this Saie bronzer. This is the Dew Bronze in the shade Sand. I think it gives a really beautiful effect. It is more like a typical cream bronzer product. It gives you that bronzing effect versus it being like a skin enhancing product. Does have a slight sheen to it, and this gives a really beautiful blurring effect as well, so I really do enjoy that. For the cream blush, that Persona cream blush, it is just gorgeous. If you haven't tried out this formula yet, you must try this out. It is such a great formulation for a cream blush because it gives you that beautiful skin-like effect, but it has this, again, it has a great blurring effect. I feel like a lot of the products I talk about, they do have that blurring technology. That's just because that's something I enjoy and something I look for. But if you're looking for a cream blush that actually gives you that effect, this is such a great formula. It's really easy to blend. Once you blend it onto the skin, it does stay put, but it's not one of those formulas that's really hard to work with because it dries too quickly. I just think this product is really, really beautiful. If you have been looking for a cream blush formula, really recommend that. Also, this Chantecaille, the bronzer, this is the Sunstone Real Bronze. This for me is a must-have. This is an outstanding bronzer. This is one of the best bronzers in my entire collection. This formula is truly like nothing else. This Bake Chalet formula is just so unique. How it sits on the skin, how it melts onto the skin is just like nothing else. It gives just the most beautiful effect to your skin, but it looks really beautiful and so skin flattering on the skin because it's such a natural bronzed effect. This is a must-have. This is gorgeous. I'm really upset that they discontinued their permanent bronzers, but at least we have this limited edition. I will say, you might not want to purchase it right now, and there might be something coming up at the end of the month that's really exciting that might get you a discount. So maybe just wait for a few videos where you can find a discount and maybe just hold off on purchasing it. But this is really, really beautiful. And I just want to thank Chantecaille for sending me that collection. Even though I did purchase the bronzer, I just gave it to my mom. That's really appreciated. I also have the Sunstone Radiant Blush. This for me isn't a must-have, but it is a really pretty option. If you're looking for something with a sheer wash of color, this definitely gives you a sheer wash on your cheeks, and it does have that shimmery effect. But it is really pretty, and it's so subtle on the cheeks, so it really is going to just top your cheeks in a really natural way. And I did go and look out in the sunlight, and I can't detect any shimmer particles sitting on top of the skin, which is something that would deter me from using a more shimmery blush. However, I do feel like you wouldn't want to use this on its own as a blush product just because it is so sheer. It doesn't really give you enough color backing just on your cheeks as it is. You can almost see through it. So for me, I would go in with a more matte blush underneath. So you could use something like I use that NARS blush, and that NARS blush does have a matte finish. So I think it just pairs really well together. But it is really pretty if you're looking for a more shimmery blush. I do really like that. The lip color I think is really beautiful. The color isn't my absolute favorite, but that's just because I like something a little bit more nude. But this formulation, I love this formula so much. It is truly perfection. It just gives you such a sheer wash of color. This is going to be something, I definitely will utilize this, especially when I'm not wearing eye makeup. I do like to go a little bit deeper with my lip color. So when I'm in the summertime, when I just am not wearing any makeup at all, eye makeup at all, this is a color that I will use. I think it will pair really beautifully with a lip liner because this is so sheer. Sometimes it's nice to just have a lip liner to give you a little bit of definition. Really, really gorgeous. Also, this Persona eye paint. I really like this as well. Again, I'm not using eyeshadow on an everyday basis, so this is something I'd more use on like a special occasion. But I really like the effect that it gave on the eyes. It's this beautiful like peachy champagne gold sort of shade. And I like that you can use this in a multitude of ways. So you saw me just sheerly apply it to the eyes, but you can also get more pigment by just applying it directly from this applicator and applying it to the eyes, and it just gives a really pretty effect. But I believe that it's all the products that I tried today, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know some of your favorite new items that have come out that you are loving. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.